In this video, we're going to be talking about what are known as integrated rate laws. So the rate laws that you have written so far are really what's known as differential equations, which means that they describe the slope of another function. And the function that they're describing the slope of is the function of concentration versus time. So what we refer to as integrated rate laws are what you get if you do some calculus on regular rate laws, specifically taking the integral with respect to t from 0 to t. For those of you that are in calculus, that might make some sense. For those of you that aren't, don't worry about it. You don't need to do it. So what we get are these integrated rate laws that describe how the concentration of a reactant changes over time. The rate laws that we've written previously describe how rate changes with concentration, but it's a single snapshot in time. Time is not a factor in that. This will allow us to determine what our concentration is going to be at any point in time. So this is a set of equations. Come here. That are given on your equation sheet. In fact, it's essentially the entire kinetics section, just about. So these first three equations are your integrated rate laws. For different orders. So you do need to know which one is which. They're not labeled, but good news, they're in order. So this first one is for a zero order reaction. The second one is for a first order process. And then the last one is for a second order process. So you will notice that they are different for each order. So you need to make sure you're always using the correct one. But other than that, solving integrated rate law problems is mostly just a matter of picking out the right variables and plugging them into the right equation. This one last equation here is not an integrated rate law, but it does get used along with them pretty regularly. And it describes the half-life for a first order reaction. So you hopefully remember half-life from Chem 1 when we talk about nuclear chemistry. Is the amount of time it takes for half of your reactant to react. And you'll notice that you're only given an equation for first order reactions, and that's because for a first order process, half-life is always constant as long as temperature is constant. For other things, it actually changes throughout the course of the reaction. So for zero or second order, for instance, the first half-life getting from 100% to 50% is not going to be the same amount of time as from 50% to 25%. So those ones don't have as straightforward of an equation. You can calculate them, but the AP exam does not ask you to. So I want to look at an example of just using an integrated rate law using these equations. So let me grab that. We can use these for any kind of problem where time is a factor. So this question is asking us how much of our reactant is going to remain after a certain amount of time. We can also use it to calculate the value of K if we know the concentration at least 2 different points in time. So we can use it for all sorts of stuff. Anytime that you're dealing with kinetics and time changing, you're probably using an integrated rate law in some way, shape, or form. So in this one, you're told the half-life of a first order reaction is 17 seconds. What percentage of the original reactant will remain after 30 seconds? So to solve this using our integrated rate laws, we're going to need to identify which equation we need to use. You're told it is a first order process. You either need to be told the order or given enough information to figure it out on your own, which means that we need the first order integrated rate law, which is the one involving natural logs. So we're looking for what percentage of our stuff will remain. These concentration zeros are your initial concentrations. The concentrations with the little t's after them are the concentration that remains after time t has elapsed. So if t in this case is 30 seconds, AT would be how much is left after 30 seconds. So we need to use that equation, which means we're also going to need to know K. We're not given K, but we are given the half-life of the process as 17 seconds. And the half-life is going to allow us to find the value of K. So the first thing we want to do here is take that half-life equation. T1 half is 0.693 over K. We know that T1 half is 17 seconds. So that gives us a value of K of 0.04077 inverse seconds. So now we know everything we need. It doesn't seem like we're given a lot of information, but we don't actually need a lot of information here, which is kind of what's nice about these integrated rate laws. So we have the natural log of concentration at time t minus the natural log of concentration at time 0 is equal to minus KT. So notice that we weren't given concentrations here, but we're not asked what the concentration will be after 30 seconds. We're just asked for what the percentage will be. So these concentrations can really be any ratio. So if initially we start with all of our reactant, we can call that 100%. And then since we put in a percentage for our initial concentration, we're going to get a percentage for our concentration after 30 seconds. So if we plug in everything we know, use the K that we just found, we were asked about 30 seconds, how much time is going to be, or sorry, how much reactant is going to be left after that amount of time. So that is the time that we want to plug in. We get that the natural log of our concentration is 3.38. The inverse function of a natural log is an exponential with a base of e. So we have e to the 3.38 power, which gets us about 29.4%.